If you're feeling this content, please like, share, and subscribe just to let me know it's real. All right, here we go.
The downside to pretty privilege. Let's talk about it. So first thing I want to say is I'm going to tell you who I wish was on this app to handle this topic. Lip gloss. If y'all remember lip gloss, she would have tore this topic all up. I mean, she would have did it justice. I miss her. I wish she was on here to handle this topic. However, there is no downside to pretty privilege, like the girls are saying. It's not. And the girls who truly benefit from pretty privilege, they not on here making think pieces. You know why? They don't even talk. They get on social media and don't even talk. They don't open their mouth. They just look at the camera, make faces, and lip sync. And they got millions of followers, thousands and millions of likes for doing nothing. That's pretty privilege. That's pretty privilege. When you can literally get online and do nothing, and you just do well for doing nothing, you have pretty privilege, right? And that's usually how those girls navigate life. It's just as easy, right? And that's why they ain't nowhere complaining about it, because they live in an easy breezy life. All of this stuff that's being talked about as to the downside of pretty privilege, about women always being jealous of you, you not being able to make friends, men treating you bad. Men will treat anybody bad, right? That has nothing to do with your looks. It doesn't save you from being treated better, and it doesn't stop men from wanting to treat you bad, right? But that can go for any type of woman. Women being jealous of you, are they really jealous of you? Or are you still holding on to that thing your mama told you when you was in school, that all the girls just was jealous of you, and you still think that to this day? You still believe everybody just jealous of you. Anytime you have any disagreement with women, or women just don't like you, you go straight to them being jealous, rather than looking at yourself in the mirror and realizing you just might be problematic, right? And that may be the reason why you can't make friends with women, is because of your personality and not your looks. At the end of the day, a good personality gonna get you further than them looks all day, every day. And that's just what it is, because when you show up with pretty face, nasty attitude, don't nobody want to do anything nice for you. And I don't care how pretty that face is. I don't care how banging that body is. It's only gonna get you so far. You need to stop focusing so much on what you look like and start getting some personality up in that soul.
Shout out to Dana Dane. She puts out some great content, but I do have to disagree with her on this one. There are plenty of downsides to being pretty. If you're the pretty girl, not only do you have to worry about your enemies, and I'm talking about the girls and women that hate you for getting all the attention, but you also have to worry about your friends. Yes, your friends, or your so-called friends. Men don't realize how competitive women are with each other. That's why women say they don't get BBLs for men. They get it to compete with other women, but it's really so they can compete for the attention of men. Now, back when I was in school, if you were a pretty girl and getting a lot of attention from the boys, especially the boys with girlfriends, you was getting a beat down from the girls. Women can be very insecure, especially when there's another girl around that's naturally pretty, or with a bigger butt or bigger breasts if you're a white girl. When you're naturally attractive, you don't have to work to get attention. People just show up. And other folks who have to work to get attention can be very angry that you don't have to work as hard. But obviously, I'm not a woman. But these are just a few things I've witnessed sitting on the sidelines.
Today I'm going to explain pretty privilege, because yes, I do experience pretty privilege, but there are tiers to pretty privilege, and I'm on the lower tier. So pretty privilege has 3 tiers. There's entry level, 8 tier, and model status. So entry level pretty privilege includes all the girls that are a little bit above average looking, but they're not like the prettiest girls you've ever seen, but you would definitely consider them pretty. Being on this level gets you some privileges, like you can get free drinks at a bar, people want to help you if you're in need, people are generally nice to you, they give you the benefit of the doubt, and this is the category that I would put myself in. And to put this on the 1 through 10 scale, this would be the high 6s and the 7s. You're pretty enough to be treated well because of it, but you're not pretty enough to make a lifestyle out of it. So one level above that is what I call 8 tier, and that's your 8s of the world. And these girls are generally the prettiest girls in the room. They're the prettiest girls you see in real life on an average day. And these are the girls that draw attention because of how pretty they are. When you're on this level, you get all the privileges of entry level, but multiplied. Instead of being able to access benefits, you're getting offered benefits. So people will give you free drinks without even talking to you. People will give you free food. People will just give you free things, honestly. People flock around you. Either girls really want to be your friend or they're very jealous of you and they hate on you, and boys are very obsessed with you. You have the halo effect, which is where people think highly of you just because of the way that you look. It's not based on merit, but people will just think that you're nicer, you're funnier, you're smarter, all because of the way that you look. These girls are immediately likable because of how pretty they are, and they experience the world differently than everybody else does. And the final pretty privilege tier is model status. And that's going to be your 9s and 10s. These are going to be the people that you almost never see in real life. These are the people that you see on social media, that you see on your TV. These are models, these are celebrities, these are influencers. These people make a living off of how pretty they are. They have the halo effect times 1,000, and people want to do things for them just because of how pretty they are. They can get almost anything for free. They can get anywhere for free. They can get into the upper echelon of society just because of the way that they look. Now, why did I just explain all this? Because people like to comment on my videos saying, oh, the reason that happened to you, the reason that you got this thing, the reason that people were nice to you was pretty privilege. It has nothing to do with you and what you did. It's all about the way that you look. And while pretty privilege gets my foot in the door, I've learned how to maximize my pretty privilege by being socially adept and by surrounding myself with people that are prettier than me. Being an entry-level pretty privilege doesn't automatically mean that people are going to give me things or be nice to me because of the way that I look. But it does mean that because of the way that I look, I have the ability to manipulate them in specific ways to get a certain outcome and to get the things that I want from them. It's not a given, but being pretty is a tool that I can use to my advantage. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you don't know me, I'm Vic and I'm a diagnosed psychopath, and I talk about being a psychopath on my page, so if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and follow along, and thanks for watching.
So I was with this young lady all the way up until she talked about manipulation. But when she said she was a diagnosed psychopath, I said, okay, that answers that question. Proceed with caution.
Y'all hear when I say this? A lot of y'all are standing outside the club trying to get in, and that's why y'all don't understand this pretty privilege conversation. That's why y'all on the internet yelling that if you had pretty privilege, you would be driving in this kind of car. Not necessarily. That just depends on how you use your pretty privilege, how far you take your pretty privilege. Because pretty privilege is just something simple as the people have done experiments on how people treat attractive people versus non-attractive people. Pretty privilege is just simply that this girl is going to get in the club before you do, and she ain't got a pad. When this girl gets in the club, is she only going to use that pretty privilege to get in the club, or does she also use that pretty privilege to go work a man with some money that's going to put her in the car? Not every girl with pretty privilege is driving a car because of her pretty privilege. That's just you projecting your assumptions because you're outside the club and you can't get in. Most of y'all having this conversation. Anybody saying that there's no downside to privilege is outside the club and can't get in. Y'all gonna hate me for telling y'all that, but sometimes you just gotta look in the mirror. It's just like when we sit here and we're in our little tax brackets and we watch people in way bigger tax brackets than us go through depression and we can't understand how you got all of this and you still not happy. Because it's a downside to literally everything. Anything and everything can have a downside. Perspective and perception behave y'all on here tussling. Calm down and get in the club first before you make an assumption.
The weirdest part of this conversation is how women keep using the term manipulation. Why do you have to manipulate people to get what you want? I mean, why can't you just use your superpowers for good? Why is it all about controlling people, using people, manipulating people? And can you please manipulate your wig and your eyelashes?
Feel like people love to throw the pretty privilege, conversation out there, which I do feel like in a lot of different areas in life, you can benefit from pretty privilege. But I think when it comes to success, you have to be a certain level of smart to even take advantage of your pretty privilege.
Yeah.
Because there's so many pretty ass girls who not doing shit.
Yeah. It's a lot of pretty broke girls.
Yes.
It's more pretty broke girls than it's pretty girls with money.
Right.
Yeah. I'll tell you that.
But to become successful, you have to figure out how to connect the dots, and everybody just ain't got it in them to be able to figure that out. When get hard, people be ready to give up.
So if you're an attractive woman, you just can't be a nice person. You've got to use your attractiveness to get something out of somebody. This is sick work. This is why foreign women are winning. This is why leaving this country to find a wife seems so appealing to me. I mean, to have a beautiful woman by your side who actually cares for you is something rare in this country. But let's be honest, these American women, once the makeup and wigs come off, they're looking like Shaq in the face.
And this is honestly no shade, But I keep seeing the pretty privilege talk, and it's really starting to piss me off. I want you guys to know, I'm going to grab your hand when I say this. It's so many pretty girls in the world. Being pretty is going to get you fucked not far. You have to have a brain to sustain success off of a pretty face. If you don't have a brain, you're going to be one of those people who need a nigga, not want a nigga. And bitches like to be like, oh, I got this, I got this, I got that. Another bitch got this and that. And it's never smart to use your prettiness as leverage, because when you go into situations like that, they never tend to work out in your favor. And then that's why girls be like, oh, it has its downfalls. No, you're just going in it thinking that that's going to get you somewhere and not being strategic. That's why it's so important to be intentional, have discernment, and know what's for you, because you will keep getting played.
So I have to agree with her. You can't be pretty without being smart. There are a lot of women who try to manipulate men by acting dumb just so they can get men to do what they want. But that can only last so long, because once you start getting older and those looks fade, it's a wrap. I remember one time this old lady said to me, "So you're not going to help this beautiful lady?" I gave her the craziest look.